getting into the ice cream business and what it was all about. Well, as a few of you guys know, I really got into this from, my background is medical. So, I've worked as an engineer in medical, and I've, come up with a few patents or whatever. And I'm not trying to brag. It's just, I kind of wanted to lay that basis as my background now. So a lot of things I come at from an engineering level. Now, you guys watched the earlier film or the earlier YouTube video that I did called The Plan, but know that really what I'm more interested in as far as Winks and the future of Winks has more to do with kind of a local feel. In other words, if you come to this area, I want the average Joe to be able to come to this area and maybe he doesn't remember a lot of stuff about this area, but maybe he'll remember Winks. And I know that sounds arrogant, but that's kind of been my plan as far as the growth of Winks. A lot of people have nationwide goals and stuff like that. But that's really never been my deal. Not that I'm wealthy or anything, but the medical business has been done well for me. This kind of really was born out of giving some ice cream to some people. They enjoyed it, so that kind of motivated me to make ice cream, and so here we are. So one of the things that I wanted to talk to today about, if a person wanted to go into business, is the number one thing that you can do. Number one is have a great product. And this is gonna sound corny, but when I first envisioned Wink, the main thing that I thought about, as far as an engineer, is what would it take to make the best ice cream? Now, when you start out that way, most engineers, when they start out with something, they normally say, well, I want to make this and I want to make it better, but I got to stay within these cost constraints. And that's just kind of what engineers do, is try to figure out an alternative without spending more money to figure out the alternative. Now, in ice cream, when I got into ice cream, I kind of went the opposite way. I just said, well, what's the best for this? What's the best sugar to use? Is there really a big difference between cane sugar and beet sugar? Yes, there is. Is there really a big difference between imitation vanilla and real vanilla? Quite a bit, as far as dimensions to your ice cream. And what's the best things to put into an ice cream? I think the word organic has been overused a lot, but the way that I look at what we do, it's not so much organic. It's really more about as natural as possible, and using ingredients that your grandmother used. So, it's proven over time. So, we use corn syrup. Again, your grandmother used that. We don't use high fructose corn syrup. However, the reason why the big guys do it is simple. High fructose corn syrup is about half the cost of using real sugar. Now, on my scale, that doesn't really make that much of a difference. On a large scale, that'd be millions of dollars more. So you don't want to be the new guy that show up and say, hey, we're going to use cane sugar, and our production costs go up 5%. That's not the person you want to be. However, we don't have those type of constraints. One of, and we also use stabilizers. We use, when we're putting in fruit, we're using the fruit. We're using a reduction. We're not going out and buying, like a lot of companies will use, pie fillings or strawberry flavoring. We don't do that. I found this because I've talked to a few local confectionaries, like I'm going to throw out a shout out to Morgan, but Morgan's Treats. I went to her one day and I said, Morgan, I wanted to get some bourbon balls to put in my bourbon ice cream. And she could have just said, hey, okay, I'll make up the bourbon balls and just give it to you. But instead she said, Winston, you know, if you're just looking for the flavor, then the ingredients are simple, you know. And so she kind of gave me, which made me start thinking about a lot of other things, you know, because what you find is there are a lot of ice cream people that make ice cream that if you're gonna buy like say cheesecake from them, cheesecake ice cream, strawberry or whatever, they just take a cheesecake and put it in the batch freezer and grind it up with the ice cream, or they'll just take it and put little flakes in it. But I kind of took that a next step. I said, what if we made the ice cream base taste like cheesecake? So we don't throw cheesecake into the ice cream. If you taste the ice cream base, you could take that ice cream and get you a graham cracker crust bowl, and you could pour it in it and you'd think it was cheesecake, but you'd have to keep it at ice cream temperature. So that's kind of been our approach with everything, is we try to make the whole ice cream experience one that you have not experienced anywhere else. And I know a lot of people say that, but that's really our goal. That's really what we try to do. So we made pumpkin pie, same concept, and we've been selling out at every time we raise our head up, somebody wants some more pumpkin pie. So we've been selling out of that like crazy, and that's new. You know, that's something new that we're doing. But a person that wants to get into the ice cream business, there are basically 3 ways to do it. There are probably more, but let's just go through the basic ways. One is you can buy ice cream from a producer, and if you're gonna go that route, there are a lot of ice cream manufacturers up north that put out a phenomenal product, you know. So, and there's a few people in this area that use different distributors from up north, and that's a way to do it. If you're gonna go that route, the only drawback to that is you're kind of restricted in the flavors that they make. And you know, if they decide that they're not going to carry something or to carry something, you know, you're going to be limited by that. And the next way is that you can make your own. You can make your own ice cream. You know, get a batch freezer and make your own ice cream. The only drawback to making your own is that, you know, the extra work it takes to make the ice cream. And you're gonna have to play around with a lot of different combinations until you get it right. When you buy, you don't really have to do that. But from what I've studied about ice cream businesses, the ice cream businesses that buy ice cream tend not to be as successful as the ones that make their own ice cream. And the last way is homemade ice cream from scratch. Okay, so 1, you can buy from people. 2, you can make your own, and when you do that, you're using a bladder, right? And a bladder already has milk, cream, sugar, corn syrup, all of the base, and then you add in. So if you want a strawberry, you add in strawberry. But the problem with that is you can't control your sugar levels. And ice cream, the more sugar you add into it, the less it wants to freeze. And the consistency of your ice cream is up and down. You know, like somebody tried and they're like, oh man, this is real sweet. And they might try something else you haven't said, man, that doesn't really taste as sweet as that. And that's why. But when we put together ice cream, we go to Kroger's. We get their heavy cream and we get their milk. And Kroger's has what's called, they have a vertically integrated distribution for their milk. So they have the dairy, so they're not randomly grabbing milk on the open market from wherever they can get it. And what I found out whenever I went, not to plug, not to try to put Sam's down or anything, but I found that a lot of their milk and heavy cream is inconsistent. Some of the time it really looks like heavy cream, sometimes it looks like, pours like half and half. And taste, you know, I've tasted everybody's milk and just, I believe Kroger is probably the best of the, the mass-produced type milk. Now, I'm looking at some of the local dairies and stuff, and I'm trying to figure out their system. But see, the smaller guys don't have the type of distribution that, say, a Kroger has. So it's kind of hard. You got to kind of figure out their system. So that's a work in progress. But like I said, that's the difference. That's the real difference between Winks and what everybody else is doing. Is we're trying to bring you something that's very unique in that it's completely built up on its own. It's not a hybrid or something, or it's not somebody else's something. And I'm not trying to put that down. I'm just saying, I told a customer this one time. I said, 100%, I couldn't tell you how Winks tastes in an ice cream cone because we've never designed it. In other words, I've never made some ice cream and put it in an ice cream cone to try it. I'm pretty sure it tastes good. But Winks was developed just for that pure ice cream taste, that milky creaminess. That's what we do, So when you buy Winks, that's what you get. When you buy the other guys, a lot of other guys do a real good job of what they do, but our ice, what we try to give you is the ice cream experience. Some companies, and not to put it down because a lot of people like this kind of stuff. They make up this big ice cream thing, and then they got a banana sticking on top of it, and a cheesecake, and some Oreo cookies, and somebody drops some flakes in from the top. We just don't do that. I mean, if you can't appreciate our ice cream from just the ice cream, then you can't appreciate ice cream, and that's okay. But again, I don't want to sound arrogant, but Winks is kind of the ice cream snob's ice cream, because I take in what a lot of people say. There's always somebody that gives you input that's not bad, but a lot of times people don't understand what you're trying to do, So like, someone might say to me, well, and this is valid. They said, well, Winston, why don't you just make a salted caramel? Why do you have to put chocolate in it? Well, the reason why we do that is you can get a salted caramel anyway. Now, if you tried somebody else's salted caramel, you might be under the delusion that their salted caramel tastes like our salted caramel. It doesn't. But if you see salted caramel chocolate, have you tried that before? Maybe, but more than likely you haven't. It's a whole new experience, an ice cream experience. And that's really what we're trying to do. So, just to wrap it up, if you're gonna go into the ice cream business, is that something that you really think that you want to do? Really study what you want to do in ice cream, and understand that a lot of things with ice cream you think will go good together won't. For example, some people will say, well, I'm gonna open an ice cream shop, and in that ice cream shop, I'm gonna do cream ice, which is kind of like the old sherbet. Well, what you find is a lot of those things don't go together. And in that, if somebody tries ice cream, like you sample some ice cream, and it's a vanilla, it's a Madagascar vanilla, like what we use, and then you go over and you try cream ice vanilla, you're gonna throw that cream ice away. It's side by side. There's no comparison. But by itself, a lot of the cream ice stuff tastes good, but because you're not in a situation where you're really comparing it, Anyway, I'm just gonna wrap it up with that. I don't want to go too long. My daughter told me my videos are too long, so I'm just gonna wrap it up with that. But I hope that kind of gives you a little understanding of what we do and what we're trying to do with ice cream. And you guys take care of yourself. Again, it's been a wonderful season. And really, on a serious note, I just couldn't have done it without you guys. You guys have been there with me from the beginning, and I ain't gonna let you down. I mean, we got a lot of stuff planned. So you guys hang in there and have a good week.